Karacharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Bhadram Karnebhihi Shrunuyama Devaः Bhadram Pashyema Akshabhiryajatra Sthirairangaistushtuβagum Sastanubhihi Vyashema Devahitan Yadayuhu Swasti na Indro Vrittashravaः Swasti nः Pusha Vishwavedaः Swasti nastarkshu Arishtanemihi Swasti no Brihaspatirdadhatu Om Shanti 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 Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvina Vadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us read the 10th Karika. Nivritte sarvadukhanam Ishanah prabhuravyayah Advaitah sarvabhavanam Devasturyo vibhusmritaha. One more time. Nivritte sarvadukhanam Ishanah prabhuravyayah Advaitah sarvabhavanam Devasturyo vibhusmritaha. So we are beginning to comment on, to understand, to reveal the truth of the seventh mantra and focusing on Turiya. Turiya means the fourth one, which is a synonym for Atma, Paramatma, Brahma, and Shiva. All of these. They all have different names for the same Vastu. So the Shastra, the teaching of the Advaita Vedanta, gives us a suggestion. You can even say a mandate. And that is, do vichara. Think. You know, it's interesting. I remember when I got my first job after graduating from UC Berkeley in 1965, I was very happy to get an offer from IBM in San Jose in the disk drive control unit department. And the very first day, we were ushered in to this room, and the HR people welcomed 2 or 3 of us and gave us a placard, handed it to us, which said, think. I'll never forget that. And so we put that in on our desks. And so what it said was, think about inventing, about understanding. And Shastra does exactly the same thing. It says, please vicharam na sahate. He says, please, avicharita siddham dvaitam. Please think. One of the ways, and think means, so what is the distinction between the think of IBM and the think of Shastra? The invitation to think by IBM is to make sure that you come up with some ideas to improve the functioning of the computer, of understanding your own job, and getting some rewards out of it, helping the society, which is all very beautiful. The think of the Shastra really means the following. It actually, you can say, think big. Think big. We are, as we grow up, we begin to think small very well. But to think big is the ultimate. So the Shastra says, think. One of the ways where the Shastra says think big, and this is the topic of today's class, and today's class is to understand Turiya. Turiya means, Atma means yourself. So to think, one of the ways to think about Turiya is to make a distinction between a sadhya vastu and a siddha vastu. So what does that mean? What is sadhya and what is siddha? This is important to see. So if you analyze your life, if we look at every aspect of each other's life, everybody's life, we are seeking sadhya. Sadhya means one that needs to be established, to be attained. So our life, for example, consists of, because we can say, are you done in your life? Are you happy just exactly the way you are? No. So each one of us, regardless of who we are, have the following detail about the sadhya. The detail is, I am not completely okay, but I am working on it. Maybe I will be okay. So this maybe I will be okay is sadhya. That means I am not okay now. It's very obvious. The way we evaluate ourselves, the way the world evaluates us, all of that is consistent, that not all is okay with me. Okay? The question is, what do I do next? So we are all working in our own ways to attain ourselves in a way that I will be okay. I will be complete. This is what we're doing. So this is what is called the attainment of sadhya. Sadhya means to be attained. That's what sadhya means. Apraptasya prapti. That I don't have the sense of completeness and I want to get there. Shastra says, do a vichara, think. How? Make a distinction between sadhya and siddha. Siddha. Siddha means what? Already attained, accomplished. Praptasya prapti. So this is the uniqueness of Vedanta Shastra. We must understand, I think I've been saying this over and over again, and I hope you don't get tired of it, because you need to be very focused on this. What is the uniqueness of Advaita Vedanta with respect to all other spiritual thoughts, all other possibilities, not religions, all spiritual thoughts, all schools of thought? There's something unique about Vedanta Shastra, Advaita Vedanta Shastra. Vedanta means Advaita Vedanta. What is it? Vedanta Shastra says, make a distinction between sadhya and siddha and pay attention to siddha, not sadhya. For attaining sadhya, there are many ways to get there. So this is what is called antakarana shuddhi. It can also be called atma shuddhi, because atma here refers to the mind, manaha, antakarana, not the real atma. Because the real atma, you cannot clean it. You cannot make it shuddha, as we will see, because it's a siddha vastu. But the mind can, because it is variable, it can be manipulated, needs to be cleaned. And there are various means of cleaning it. Shuddha, shuddhi. So, for example, karma shuddhi. Karma shuddhi means your actions, how you behave with others, whether you are telling truth, you are a reliable person, you're a kind person, whether your thinking is that of forgiveness, all of those kinds of things. This comes in karma shuddhi. Do the benefit of everybody, think about the whole world, karma shuddhi. Then comes bhava shuddhi. Bhava shuddhi means that you entertain Ishvara's thought. There is something more than, and even if things are not going well, you repose your faith in somebody bigger, and you go on. And so this also means bhakti. It means your own bhavana, your own thoughts. This is called bhava shuddhi. The more you do it, the better you feel. Here, Swami Akandananda makes a very beautiful point. He says, probably the best way to define bhava shuddhi or bhavana, bhakti, is that there is something more than artha, kama and dharma. More than money, more than just karma, more than just behaving well. There's something more. And I repose myself towards that. So this is what is called Bhava Shuddhi. And the final one is Yoga Shuddhi. Yoga Shuddhi means, okay, I understand, but how do I get to the promised land? So this is called Yoga Shuddhi. We'll discuss that in more detail. Okay. In Vedanta, Atma Shuddhi means none of the other three, not Karma Shuddhi, Bhava Shuddhi, and Yoga Shuddhi. It means Jnana Shuddhi. Jnana Shuddhi how? Because it means an understanding of what is a Siddha Vastu. What are the parameters? What are the definitions? This is what we're going to do today. What are the parameters? What are the gunas? What are the qualities? What are the forms, if you want to call it a form, of Siddhavastu? Not Sadhyavastu, but Siddhavastu. It means already done. And this 10th Karika is to define the Siddhavastu. Why? Because the sadhya, you can't even call it vastu. Vastu means something which is real. So really we are in our life dealing with relatively unreal states of our mind. So you can't call it vastu, but suppose you call it, you're magnanimous and you call it sadhya vastu. The characteristic of the sadhya vastu, and that is why Advaita says, please give that up, is because all sadhya vastus are full of problems. You can never get rid of the basic problems of life, which is a limited existence, a very limited experience of joy, a sense of fear of the future, regrets of the past, all those diseases, everything, this is what comprises what is called dukkha. So the dukkha means problems, sorrow. So all the sadhya, the very trying to attain sadhya is full of dukkha for everybody. Whereas our attempt is to be free of dukkha, to go to sukha. And what Vedanta says is that the only vastu which is totally free of problems is turiya. So this we must understand. And the turiya is a siddha vastu, not a sadhya vastu. So the 10th Karika is actually explaining the details, the unfolding the meaning, the significance of this fact that our goal in life, everybody's goal in life, is turiya. Because sadhya vastu is full of problems, if you can call it a vastu. Only siddha vastu is free of all problems. So at first you define it, then, which is what we'll call paroksha jnanam, but then you make it aparoksha jnanam because it says you are the turiya. Turiya is not some strange word. It's not a strange vastu that you don't know. We'll go into that in some more detail. It is you. So the attainment of the siddha vastu as myself is the purpose of the 10th Karika. So let's start with that. So right away it says, Nivrittehe sarva dukkhanam. So immediately you define it, that this siddhavastu, turiya, is inherently free of problems. The question is how? How is that possible? And even more difficult to understand is that me? Because that's not my experience. So this is what we have to understand. But you have to start with a goal, an ascertainment, a statement of fact that the turiya is sarva dukkhanam nivrittihi. It is not possible. It is too subtle, something too subtle to be based on, to be endowed with any problems. Not possible. See the impossibility of it. This is what we have to do. So, it's interesting. This is not given in this particular Karika, but I'll bring that in. It says that Paramatma or Atma is both the cause of your sense of limitation and also the cause of the release from limitation. So you call it sarva dukkhanam. Where does the sarva dukkhanam comes? Where does all the problems come? It comes from me. Swami Dayanand used to say that. He says, I didn't understand it at that time. I have a much better understanding now. But, this is how it is, Shravanam Mananam. At that time when Swamiji would say something, and if you ever come to my home, my library is full of the notes from 2.5 years of my study. Every time Swamiji would say something, I was writing everything down. I can go back to the notes. And sometimes I do once in a while just to see. And what I saw was that he said everything that I'm now revising with Swami Akhandananda. He already said it. So their visions were very clear. But I didn't understand it. But I wrote it down. And one of the things that Swami Dayanandji said was, And I think he has given some booklets on this also. You are the problem and you are the solution. So I wrote it down. And I didn't quite understand. It took me a while to really get to the possible. Because the reasonable person will argue, how can the same person give you problems and the same person releases you from it? How is that possible? You know, this is a dilemma, if you can call it a dilemma. It's a confusing thing which permeates all spiritual thoughts. Because you want to posture Ishvara, God, as being all kindness. And you also posture Ishvara as all-encompassing. The very word Ishvara, here it says Ishanaha. Does it say Ishanaha here? Yeah, Ishanaha. Nivrittehi sarva dukkhanam Ishanaha. Ishanaha means complete Lord. He's a complete Lord and He is compassionate, He is full of love, forgiveness, which He is. Then where do the problems come from? This is a dilemma which besets all religious thoughts. So what religions, I think, kind of come up to a sort of like a interim solution, if you may, is that, there is a devil there somewhere. Is there a devil somewhere where? Don't you say that the Ishvara is complete? Yeah, Ishvara is complete. Then what about the devil? No, the devil is not part of the completeness. Then where is he? Where did he come from? How does he operate? This competitor to Ishvara, devil, the instigator of papa, of sin. So this is a topic that really besets all spiritual thoughts. So Vedanta says, yes, it's true. Ishvara is the one that creates problems, and Ishvara is the one that solves the problem. You are the problem, you are the solution. This needs to be understood very well. So in the example given by the Acharyas, including Swami Akhandananda, this is not the only one, but I think the way he presents it as part of the whole teaching becomes very, very effective in thinking. So he says, look, suppose you are at a place which is alien to you. Let's just posture it as like a woman. Because the women are not as powerful as men, generally speaking. They are more vulnerable to be harassed and attacked and so on. So supposing you can picture a woman in a very strange, lonely place. And She's already apprehensive, and she sees somebody from coming who looks like a human form, and then she says, this person has a gun. And now you can imagine the feelings of this woman, how fearful she would be. She already feeling vulnerable. On top of that, there is a very clear picture of a strange person, with a headgear and beard and so on and so forth, and approaching with a gun. She says, I am done. I am done. And as the person comes up near, all of a sudden, this woman sees the person to be a policeman rather than some strange robber. How long will it take for the fear of this woman to turn into joy? How long will it take? Does it take any work? No. So, it says in the Shastra, there is a sentence here somewhere, I'll pick it up from somewhere, which says, Ajnata Atma is dukkha. Jnata Atma is sukha. So it's interesting, this word dukkha and sukha. There's a long commentary on this by Swami Akhandananda, somewhere I think I read. So there is actually a main thing called kha. The word kha means akasha and Brahman. It can be either one of them. So it can be bhutakasha, which is the space, or it could be Brahman, which is chidakasha. Either one is kha. But if you put a prefix on it, that prefix could be either bad or good. So in the case of akasha, you can look at it this way. Either the akasha is beset with pollution, extreme cold, or the akasha is not only free of pollution, it is a nice temperature, lighted, it's not dark. So the akasha can be either a dukkha or sukha, but it is a kha. Brahma is the same way. Atma, Brahma means Atma, means you. You are neither do nor su. You are free from both of them. So in that way, Ajnata Atma, a confusing Atma, is the cause of dukkha. And a clear Atma, understood to be a siddhavastu, is the cause of sukha. So now we go back to the main teaching of this 10th Karika. What do you mean by a siddhavastu? What is the definition of Turiya, which is a Siddha Vastu. Okay, now let us look into that. So, there are 4 things that we need to understand that characterize what is called a Siddha Vastu. Siddha Vastu means already accomplished, means no change, done. 4 things. One is called Avyayaha. The second one is Prabhu. The third one is Sarvabhavanam Advaitaha. And the fourth one is Deva. Right? These are the 4 things. Avyayaha, Prabhu, and Prabhu is actually specifically mentioned as Vibhuhu. So I think we will switch over to Vibhuhu. And Prabhu will go into Ishanaha. Okay? So 5 things if you want to look at it that way. Ishanaha, which is the very definition of Turiya. Ishanaha and Prabhu is one. And it has 4 different aspects that we must understand. One is Avyayaha. One is Vibhuhu. Third one is Sarvabhavanam Advaitaha. And the fourth one is Deva. Okay, now let's look at each one of them. So the first one is Ishanaha Prabhu. So the meaning of the word Ishanaha means Samarthaha. Samarthaha means capable. Because who in the whole world is capable of not having any problems? Who is it? Is there anyone that we can find out who doesn't have any problems? And if they think that they don't have, if they say that they don't have any problems, they're not telling the truth. But the interesting thing is, in the entire creation, there is one person who is capable of not having any problems. One person. This is a good way to look at it. Supposing you go on a search to find out if there's anyone in the world that is without any problems. So supposing you do a AI search and you ask everybody, all, I don't know, what's the population? 8 billion people. You will not find anybody without problem. But there is one person. So, the Shastra uses the words Gudha. Gudha. Gudha means one who is hidden. Very difficult to find that person. One person is free of problems. Ishana. And a synonym for Ishana is Prabhu. So Prabhu means Prakashena Bhu. Prakashena Bhu. So the basic dhatu is Bhu. So Bhu means Bhavati iti Bhu. And Bhavati has two meanings, both very, very close to each other. One is one that occurs is called Bhavati. Does it ever really happen? Happening is called Bhavati. The other meaning of Bhu is one that does not occur but still is. The beingness, not the occurrence, is also called Bhu. And this beingness without occurring is called Prabhu. So this means one which is without being born. You can begin to get a hint of who are we talking about. We're talking about one that does not need any proof, doesn't need to be born. That is you, the Atma. Sat Swarupam. It's interesting. There is a word in Vedanta called Nitya. Nitya. You know what Nitya means? Nitya means one which always is called Nitya. An example of that is time. Another example is space. Nitya. No matter what kind of a time it is time. There is everything in time. The time remains constant. Some becomes past, some becomes the future, some becomes the present, but all three of them are nothing but, this is what he says, that when you say past time, it's time. So the time is Nitya. Vedanta says, is it really Nitya? Are you sure it is Nitya? Yes. We all know time is. Has anybody been able to eliminate time? If you can show me how to eliminate time, then I can say time is anitya. But it is Nitya. Are you sure it is Nitya? So yes, it's Nitya. So Swami Vivekananda points out that in the teaching of Shastra, this is what called prakriya. Some Sanskrit words are used, very beautiful words. Prakriya means the technical language, how you analyze, you have to understand. Another word is pranali. Pranali and method or prakriya are the same. So there is a prakriya in Vedanta that distinguishes between nitya and sat. How is that? Why do we say that? Yes, time and space are nitya. But time and space disappear in deep sleep. Because what you have to do is not to worry about the world, but think of yourself. Keep your analysis based on yourself. Am I ever free of time? This is what you have to see. Not that time is for anybody else, but for you. Can you just keep your reference point to one? Don't stay away from it. Stay the same reference point, which is you. Do you not get rid of time in deep sleep? And if you keep on saying, oh well, I think that I don't know that I have time, that is not the right answer. The question is, from your experience, you tell me that the akasha, the space and time are nitya. Didn't you tell me that? So that means from your experience, it should always be there. Yes, true. But it is not. It is not. Because it disappears. Space also disappears in deep sleep. Time also disappears in deep sleep. All the vastus, all the things disappear in deep sleep. So they are not, they may be nityaha, but they are not sat. So therefore, the difference between nitya and sat is what is this gets to be more technical, but look at this. Nitya means normally as pravaha nityatvam. There is a thing called pravaha nityatvam. So pravaha nityatvam means a sense of constancy. Nityatvam means constant, the sense of being constant, unchanging. This is called nityam. Pravaha nityatvam. Nityatvam means the sense of constancy maybe. The very form of constant. Pravaha means a flow. So this is a constancy which is caused by a constant flow, is called pravaha nityatvam. So time and space have pravaha nityatvam. So here the example given is that if you are standing next to a flowing river, let's say a river that never dries up, major rivers like Ganga and Yamuna and Amazon River and so on. If you're standing next to it, you have pravaha nityatvam of the water. Because you have waves that are coming and going, but there is a sense that there is water all the time. This is called pravaha nityatvam. Whereas, so therefore, time and space have pravaha nityatvam. But Atma, Satsvarupam, does not have pravaha nityatvam, then what? Swarupa nityatvam. Swarupa nityatvam means that a pravaha nityatvam depends on a pravaha. You know, we talk about these rivers that appear to be constant. But it is very possible that they may dry up. Then what happens to the water? It's gone. So the nityatvam of a river is also a dependent nitya. Similarly, time and space have pravaha nityatvam. They depend upon certain conditions. And the conditions are either you are in Jagrat Avastha, in which case time and space have a very particular relationship. You are in the 21st century. You are sitting in California amongst all the big cosmos. There's Earth, there is USA, there's California. So it is all relative. And so time and space have relativity, their dependency, their pravaha nityatvam. But whether you are awake, you are dreaming, you are sleeping, those are the only three possibilities. You go back and forth in three. There's no fourth one. The fourth one is you, Turiya, which is there in all of them. How can I be there in all of them? You are. You are aware of, are you not aware of your Jagrat Avastha? Yes. Okay, you are. Are you not aware of your dream Avastha? Yes. Okay, so you are there. Are you not aware of the deep sleep? No, I'm not aware of the deep sleep. If you are not aware of the deep sleep means what? Deep sleep means I see nothing. That's what deep sleep is. Total darkness, total absence of anything. And how can you come up in the morning and said, I slept? I saw nothing. What it means is I saw nothing. So you saw nothing. So you are. So the Atma is not pravaha nityaha, it is swarupa nitya, satsvarupa. So there is a distinction in Vedanta Shastra between Nitya and Sat. So Sat means Swarupa Nityatvam, Natu Pravaha Nityatvam. This is the meaning of the word Prabhu. Prakarshena Bhu. Prakarshena Bhu means totally is, not subject to sometimes being there, sometimes not. This needs to be understood. This is you. Not you as a particular body, which is part of these. You as a particular body at a particular time, at a particular place, is defined by what? By Jagrata Avastha. So in the Jagrata Avastha, this is what is called, we have a common name, you and I, it's called Vishwa. So Vishwa, as we have seen in the earlier part of Mandukya Upanishad, is a person who is being defined by Jagrata Avastha, by the waking state. And because of that, you become Dukhi and Sukhi. But if you look at yourself, which is now look at one of the four. Let's look at four of them. So first of all, the word Ishana, which means capable, remember? So let's make sure, go back to your notes. Ishanaha means, Ishvaraha means samartha. Sarva dukkhanam nivrittehe samartha, which is capable of, remember we said there is one person in the entire creation, only one person, who's free of all problems. That is the Ishanaha, and that is the Prabhu, Prakarshena Bhu. Now we have to understand it in more detail. And those are the four details. What are the four details? Avyayaha, Vibhuhu, Advaitaha, and Deva. First we define who are we talking about. We are talking about one who is capable of complete freedom from all problems. Sarva dukkhanam nivrittihi yasya. Now how? Because you can't just make a statement and walk away. You have to prove it. And the proof is from four aspects. Yeah, very interesting. Again, if we go back to what is unique about Vedanta Shastra. And we do it by distinguishing it from the normal way that people think about with the help of other schools of thought. That's how we distinguish it. It is not meant to be in any kind of a competition. That's not what it is. But it is to see, to distinguish what is the uniqueness about the Vedanta Shastra, which is not available anywhere else. What can we do? So here's coming back to the same point. All the other Shastras, all the other schools of thought, I shouldn't call them Shastra, all other schools of thought, all spiritual schools of thought, they will tell you to distinguish yourself from what you see. So the Drik Drishya Viveka is fundamental to all schools of thought. And in fact, it is fundamental to even normal understanding that we have. Isn't it? Because if you see an accident happening in front of you, it might leave a certain memory in you, but other than that, you have nothing to do with the accident. Very obvious. You know, when you say, I saw an accident, it is very different from saying that I was in an accident. That's very different. If somebody comes up and says, oh my God, you have no idea what happened today. Oh really? What happened? If you say, I was in an accident, you say, oh really? Did you get hurt? How was the car? But if you tell somebody, I saw a bad accident. Oh really? Then your understanding is totally different. That means I had nothing to do with the accident and I walked away from it. So the distinction between Drik and Drishya is very normal and obvious. And all schools of thought do it. And to distinguish between problems of life and how you can be away from it, various panaceas are given. We saw that. Karma, bhava, bhakti, yoga, viveka, sankhya, all of those are given. So now what happens is that at the end of the day, if you look at all these alternative schools of thought, what comes about? You are an Atma. You are separate from all the things. There's nothing, you can be completely free of issues, problems. But you are still a limited individual. So there is an extent to which you can try to be free of problems, but you are circumscribed by a body-mind complex that you cannot get rid of. Okay, well, no, yeah, maybe in the next life. Okay, this life we agree. You cannot get rid of the body-mind complex. You are stuck with it. And if anybody tells you you're not stuck with it, they are lying. So you're stuck with it. So let me understand it. I have a freedom from problems. except for the fact that I'm very limited. Is that what you're telling me? Yes, this is what we're telling you. And so, what should I expect? Well, I think that after you get rid of this body and so on and so forth, then you will achieve some kind of a moksha. This is what everybody's telling. Vedanta Shastra says no. Because your understanding of who you are is incomplete. Is incomplete. Incomplete how? Because it is confusing that I am the Atma, but I am a limited Atma. This is the confusion. So the uniqueness of Vedanta Shastra is nowhere else you cannot find this anywhere. If you can find something, then it is nothing but Vedanta. Is that you never were limited, you are not limited, no possibility of any limitation. You are a complete Siddhavastu, and any feeling of limitation is a false feeling. Understand the falseness of that feeling, falseness of that conclusion. Understand that. This is the meaning of the Siddhavastu. This is the meaning of Turiya. You have always been Turiya. You have always been Satsvarupa. And there is no possibility of it being taken away. And the only thing is you don't quite understand it. You don't see it. And the way to see it is to focus on 4 possibilities that define your limitation. 4 possibilities. From 4 different directions. This is the path of freedom. And the 4 one is you feel you're limited because of time. Means that limitation because of time means that you're limited in time. What it means is that you were not there at some point, and therefore you may not be there at some other time. So this is what is called under the control of time, non-freedom from time. The other one is, I'm only here, not everywhere. So this is under the control of space. The third one is that I am only this much, not everything else. So this is under the control of other objects. And the fourth one is that if there is a freedom, it may be somewhere else, but not me. And so that is a sense that I may be free later, but not at this moment. So that is the limitation of Jivatma versus Paramatma. So to attack this false understanding about ourselves, the Turiya is defined in these 4 terms. And we will now go into the explanation of these 4 ones, which is what? Avyayaha, Vibhuhu, Sarvabhavanam Advaitaha, and Deva. And once I understand all 4 clearly, without any doubt, I would understand what Turiya is. So we will continue with this analysis in the next class. Yeah. Okay. Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Also understanding about it's so nice to see all these loyal, dedicated students that listen every morning. Wonderful to see you. And this is a very, I think you will see the next class also would be revealing in terms of the understanding of the Atma. So yeah, it's a wonderful commentary on the 10th Karika by Swami Akhandananda, and just very revealing. So hopefully we'll see you next week. Hari Om.